everybody, it's the Redstone Wizard here again, bringing you another Redstone tutorial. What I got for you today is I am re-recording the Podzol Farm. I'm trying a new method on the recording. Please let me know what you think. The only reason I'm redoing the Podzol Farm is because I did miss a few things, and there has been some improvements. So, let's take a quick look. First off, it is a lot more compact, so it's not spread out as much. Second, instead of having a lever to flip, all you have to do is get in the minecart, pop into this barrel, pull out everything in the barrel, and then just start going to town. Then when you're done, all you have to do is just put everything back in the barrel, and the system will stop the next process. And then all you have to do is just exit out, and there you go. And there we go. That's it. Some minor improvements, but hopefully this will work out better. Now, please let me know what you think of the new recording style. But you guys, let's get to building this thing. Okay, guys. Now, before we get started, I am not going to do an item list of the entire build, but the list of the updated version is going to be in the description. So, let's get started. First off, pick yourself a nice little spot. And the first thing we're going to do is throw 3 pieces of obsidian, leaving a gap with 3 more pieces. Then we're going to make a gap of 2 and 3 more pieces of obsidian, and break those. Okay, now we got that set. Now this is directional. So the way I always like to figure out the direction is using regular rails, because they are one of the few blocks that I can instantly tell right away, because this is a easterly direction. So we want to make sure when we're building our farm that the logs are on the east side of it. So keep that in mind. Make sure that all the components are on the east side. So next, we're going to throw some dust on all these pieces of obsidian. Grab our pistons and make sure you get them in line with the dust going up. Then 1 block below the obsidian, we're going to place another set of pistons, and I'm just doing this real fast, but just place them on the obsidian side and make sure that it's only 3. Now grab yourself a wall, your favorite wall, and go out 2 from the from your pistons on all of them. Now, for those that don't know, what we're going to be doing is actually an activation method for observers. So we're going to grab our observers, and we're going to place them down. If you have to come underneath to place them, that's fine. That's usually what I do anyways. But when these walls get activated by doors, not doors, trap doors, so this way, notice they activate the piston. Well, since we're here, place trapdoors so that when you close them, they go right up against the wall. And you can use any trapdoor you want. I am just color coding this to make it a little bit easier. Then on top of the walls, we are going to place our pistons pointing towards the other pistons. Now what this is doing is nothing. This is just going to push the blocks, push our stone. Then we're just going to encase, go up an additional one, and encase. All of your blocks here. Okay, now we're going to grab our solid blocks and place them on the back half of these pistons. And grab yourself some water and waterlog these pistons, all of them. Now, if you want to, grab yourself some stone or some moss. I'm going to use pale moss for this because I feel like it. And just go up to, you could, or just put a line here. I'm going to because it's so much easier. And it'll allow me to regulate a little bit better. Then grab your lava buckets. Now you could use a minimum of 4. Place one in the middle, or one on the outside, or all of it. Oh. Okay. That was unexpected. Do not use pale moss for this. Okay. But yeah, I'm going to have all of it turned to stone. Okay, so now that we got that set up, all we have to do is come over, grab yourself your observers, and going into this block, we're going to place our observers pointing down. On all of them. And then you have to make a decision here. Do you want to use just a random block that can be that can update the observers, like dispensers, where I'm having these filled with one piece of bone meal just to silence them? Or do you want to use something like rails? It doesn't matter, just as long as you're able to update all the observers. And it doesn't matter what you use to update them as long as they all get updated. Okay, now that we got these all set, I'm just going to bust out the glass I just placed just to stop this. Then we're going to take and throw obsidian right next to our updaters. And to protect ourselves from falling into lava, we're going to throw pistons right in front of it. Right on top of the lava. In fact, let me fill this one in because of how appearance-wise. Okay. Now, we're going to go up to here in the center on this piston and grab yourself an observer and point them down on each side. And with them pointing down on each side, we're going to take and place an observer pointing towards the pistons. Grab a repeater, put it down in the middle piston on 3 ticks. Grab yourself some dust and put it on top of the obsidian. Now these have to be immovable and you have to place blocks on. So crying obsidian, regular obsidian, and I think we could place it down on, yeah, if you want to, you can use respawn anchors. But it has to be something that's immovable that you can place dust on. Now we're going to place 3 pieces of obsidian to add an additional block here. And the whole point of this block here is just to prevent it. You could even throw the obsidian here if you want. I like the appearance of it like this. And let me get the rest of the dust here. And then after you get all your dust here, we're going to take and just fill this in just like this. Then you're going to grab yourself some rails. Place a rail here and here, here and here, and one here. Grab your solid block, place them here, 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 and here. Anything where there is no rail, you could just take out if you want or leave it in for appearance purposes. Row observers, double observer. And then all we have to do is just take out these center ones. And if you want, you could just boom, they'll process. And now if I process this again, they'll start pushing them out. And get these up to just enough so that they are in line. And if you want to, you can put temporary blocks here to walk across. But yeah, okay, so now we have the we have the stone generation set. So let me get set up for the next part and I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back and now we're going to put 2 there, and then we're just going to run a line of glass here, 1 path here on both of these sides. Then we're going to take our powered rails and run them all along here. And we're just going to run them here. And there's going to be some slight adjustments here, which we'll fix later. Then we're going to take our observers, put 1 at the end, on each end, and a pair in the middle. So there's a 3 block gap between these. Grab a solid block and put it on the face of all these observers. Go 1 below on all of these. Then we're going to go up and make this shape on all but this one. Means get this. Now we're going to go over an additional one on these. Take your rails, start here, go all the way to the top. These ones, just stick them here for now. We'll do some other stuff with those. Grab your observers again, right here. Place it on top of these rails. Place a observer pointing up. Grab your repeater. Place that down here. Set to 3 ticks. Grab a dropper. and the hoppers. Place a temporary block. Place a dropper going in, dropper going up, and a dropper going over with the moss block in front of it. And we'll do that to all of these. Over, up, over, up, over, up, with droppers, and then moss blocks on top of there. Then grab your piston, pointing towards the moss block. Place them there. Now come back over here, and we'll place an observer. Up, over, leave a gap. Dropper going up, and a dropper going, and a dispenser going over. 3-tick repeater. Moss there, and a piston. And do the exact same thing over on this side. This is our moss creation. This will allow us to have all the moss fill the entire area, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, these ones have something special they're doing, so we will do something special with it. Now, over here in this middle part, we need to grab a dropper. We need to go over and down, over one, and put 2 droppers facing down with hoppers into them and hoppers going into those, and you can put rails on top of those. Now grab your hoppers and go 2 blocks. Place your droppers, your observers, 2 over, exact same setup here. Dropper going up. Dispensers. Three-tick repeaters. Now, we're going to grab 2 temporary blocks, place them there, place a rail down, place a minecart on the rail. You can break the block in the rail, come down here, grab your rail, repeat it over on this side, and then throw your moss blocks there. Make sure you grab your powered rail so that you're not losing anything. Now we have all of this where it can all be collected from the system. So, next is, give me a second, let me get everything together for the next part, and we'll continue. Okay guys, we're back. Next thing is we are going to be setting up for the mosques to the stone to moss to podzol conversion tray. So what we're going to do is come here right next to our block here, and we're going to do a 3 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should be in line with the droppers back here. In between the below the dispensers, those droppers, the dropper dispenser, you'll be in line with there. Now this one, we're going to go all the way until we're here. And then we're just going to grab our observers and just point them right into those. And then just finish up your area. Now grab your grab your rails and run them along the tops. Due to the orientation we're taking, they will snap the way we want them to. We don't have to do any we don't have to do any funky things. and take and place 3 observers on top of these rails and these rails. Grab another grab your glass and go one past each side and throw rails here and here, where we're going to place an observer pointing here, 2 here, and 1 here. And wherever there is no solid block, you can remove. Next, above all these observers, above all these rails, we're going to place an observer pointing up with a sticky piston on it. And we're going to do it to both sides. So, observer with sticky pistons pointing onto the top. Now, I know some people are like, Wizard, how are you going to power these? Well, that's what the stone generators are for. So if we just pulse these until we are in line, and that will set us up for the next part. I'll replace that afterwards. And yes, you can do it with one side. Or you can manually place the stone. Okay. And if you get extra, just break it down. We want it one above here. And then just take your take stone, moss, whatever, and just fill this in, just so we can get this done. Okay, now just for the ease, I'm going to take out 2 rows here, and I'll refill it later. But we're going to grab ourselves some hoppers. And going into these droppers, we are going to be placing the hoppers with droppers going all the way across to this point, and then down. Grab yourself an observer, and you can temporarily place a block just to get in line here. And go all the way across. And then we'll take this one out because we have something special for this spot. And we'll go out 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Break it and throw a hopper at the end of it. And leaving this gap here. 3 more. And then in the middle, 2 observers. All the way across, putting 1 here, leaving the gap. And all the way, we can take that one out. 3 more, and there we go. Now replace your stone that you took out. And there we go. Now, a little bit later, we're going to fill this up with bone meal. And we're just going to do it the easy way. So, but here, we need to grab some glass. We need to go over 3. And then if you want, you can actually take these out and throw in some packed ice in here, and then make a line starting going all the way across here, in line with here, and then just circle this with it. And we got something special we're doing with these. And I'm just going to cover this entire thing up with glass because it's what I like to do. Okay. So, one more. There we go. And now, before we do anything else, let's encase all of this in glass. And this gap right here, we'll just throw another piece of glass there. And another piece of glass there. Okay. And yeah. Then we're going to take our droppers again. And going in line with here. So 2, 3. We are just going to put droppers all the way to there, with this last one going down. Hoppers going into these guys. Nothing will go there, but if you want to preserve, put some moss here. Alright guys, Editing Wizard here, and while reviewing I noticed there was a mistake. So do this, but you're going to notice something different in the video. It is because I didn't catch it till later. So what we're going to do is place 2 solid blocks here. We're going to place a observer detector right there. I'm using a dispenser with a piece of bone meal. Grab a observer, point it down and over. Grab myself a piece of glass and throw it over there. Now that is the way it's supposed to be. Now back to the pre-recorded video. Now this is part of the setup so that it can process for getting the bone meal over and processing all this into moss. So we're going to skip an area here. If you want to, you can fill this in because nothing's ever going to go there. And we're just going to run the line all the way across. This one, we're going to do something special with it. We're going to place a glass block there. And we're going to move these all the way over there. Take out the middle because down here is where the trees are going to be going. That one goes there. And then we take our rails, run it across here, run it across here. This last one becomes a observer. Then we run this all the way across, placing an observer right here with a solid block and more there, leaving out the middle here. Actually, that one doesn't. It would be here that you need the magical rail placement. Run all your rails here before you place your observer and your solid block and the extra rail there. Now we're going to grab ourselves our solid blocks and place it on top of all these ones and these ones. come back around because we need to power this dropper, but we have no way to power it. So we're just going to take an observer there and one there. Powered. Good to go. And throw a hopper here. So we're going to take our droppers and just run them all the way across and down. Perfect. Now we have add a hopper at this end. If you want to take the time and power all of these and have boxes here of bone meal, that's fine. I'll show you guys how I'm going to do it once we get to the part where I'm able to do control. So I will be right back. Alright guys, we're back. Now it's time to set up for our water. So what we're going to do is, first off, we are going to encase everywhere where we're going to be having. Alright guys, editing wizard here, and I realized while going through my process that we are missing one very important thing. So where our obsidian is, let's just puzzle that. Before you even get to it, we're going to make sure that we get some pistons in here, above the droppers. One block behind in line with our stone, and we're going to do that on both sides, and that is just so that we can have the stone process through the entire system. So let's get back to the pre-recorded video. Where water is going to become where where the moss isn't going to grow at. So one block away from all of these, we're going to just cover them up, and except for one special location where we're going to have obsidian instead. And this is just more for prevent from damaging. So we're going to throw 3 pieces of obsidian above the path the stone is going to take. And then we're just going to fill this in and fill this in. Grab yourself some fence gates and throw them in line with the pistons and just open them up. Now if you're like me, that looks better. You could also use signs, but you'll have to place them on the pistons. This one, it doesn't matter. That's why I prefer it. Now we're going to take dispensers and we're going to place them 1 block back. In the corners, we're going to grab ourselves some type of stair. Whatever stair you want. I'm going to use red sandstone. And place it here in front of each of these. Now make sure that each of these get a bucket of water, because this is how our water is going. This is how those are going to process. Now grab yourself your wall and place your wall in this gap right here, and put 2 more here, and wall there. Okay, so now that we got that set, this is where having a temporary block like moss could come in handy, because then you're not going to spend forever processing it. Place 2 blocks, and place 2 blocks in there, 1 in there, and 1 in here. Come down, get yourself a bucket of water, place it above the dispenser. It's going to flow both directions. That's fine. On this one, we want it right here on this side of the dispenser. It's going to flow to this point. And here, same thing, right above the dispenser. Now, once you got that done, grab yourself a end rod and either a repeater or a comparator. Bust out the moss, place an end rod on the dropper here, and then place a repeater or comparator, doesn't matter which one. And you do that to all of these. Now what this is going to do is actually control the water. So we got water flowing in there. If I was to take and come over here, well, I can actually just do this temporarily and place this here, plus that. Now, right where these pistons are, there is no water, which will allow moss to grow. Now here is a little different. We'll throw that there with the repeater on top and then 2 walls. And we'll do the same thing over on this side. We'll add the extra there. I'll throw moss there. And glass there. End rod. And this is just so that we're able to control where the items go. And then same thing. But all we have to do is just water there. It will flow. Make sure you get every spot where the water can flow out of. Bottled, capped off, so you don't have to worry about it. And if any water ends up there, just power. That will push it to where it needs to be. I'll break it. Okay, so now that we got this set up, we can fill this part in right here. And this one right here. In fact, we'll switch colors on this. But yeah, so now we need to make sure we get these power. So I am going to let that water flow because I am going to throw a observer right there. And that's going to power that. And I'm going to throw an observer right there with a solid block. And these stay there. That stays there. And we just fixed the water issue. No, that goes good. Okay, then below here, 2 blocks up, over, and then in line. And then we're just going to run the rails across. And then we're going to run it down into right below this one with a solid block and an observer right there. Grab yourself a piece of backed ice and throw it right in front of there, and then just continue your rails all the way down. None of these rails will interact. So counting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we're good. As long as they don't reach 9, we are good. So we need to do the same thing for this one. So I am going to do this fast because and then wrong color. And this follows the same principle. Solid block, observer, and rails going all the way down to here with a solid block and rails up and packed ice. Okay, and then if any of these are powered, just do a quick power and they'll clear up all the water. There we go. Now our water control is set. We don't have to worry about it. That will all the water will flow into the center. So now we will actually start working on the counters and everything for this. So we'll be right back and set up for the control brain of this. So I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, we're back. And so now we're going to get everything powered up. So first off, we do need to get an observer right in here. So because of me not doing it right last time, me getting these in, if you want to, if it's possible to get here and place it, do it. Even if you have to break those, that will work. So an observer in there, block, an observer pointing to that, a repeater set to 4 ticks, and we're just going to bust that out. We can take that glass out, and an observer, and here's another observer, and this is going to change routing. But we're going to take a piston, put it here, go out, 3 blocks, so we have a 2 block gap, and place another piston, and a redstone block on that. Now grab your droppers, dropper going in one way, and dropper facing into the other one, right next to the redstone block, and pick one and place the 8 random items you have. Then get your last block down, down. We need to just make it where we can power the pistons as if we are powering a etho hopper clock or a hopper clock, period. Then we're going to take and throw comparators and dust. Now that's going to shift it over. All right, shift it over depending on what side you have it in. It doesn't matter. But then we're going to take a observer, place it on top of that with a block, any block you want, with a door on it. No matter the orientation of the door. And underneath the door, we're going to place it so that the observer is reading the door, powering the rail. And this last one right here, we're going to replace it with a piece of, with an observer. But for purposes, we're just going to place another one here. Because we're going to go here, here, and here. And that is just to prevent it from connecting. And we'll place the observer back, going into a block. Now we're going to grab our torches. We're going to place a torch, a block, anything you want. We're going to leave a gap of 2. Anything you want, a solid block, and a torch. Grab your observers and place them down. And grab yourself some rails. And if you you have that one there, just bust it out, place your rail, place that. That will make it work. And grab yourself, if you use power rails over here, use activator rails over here. If you use activator rails over here, use power. Basically, you need 3 and 3 to make this work. Now I am going to place a redstone block up there because that's going to lock it. Come back under here. And in line with these observers, you're going to want to place you're going to want to make sure that you place it, and if you get a spill like this, just make sure you place everything that got destroyed, which should be only the dust there. And place the other observer and you there. Then come back up here, grab any block you want to that's going to stop water, place it on this side, and get yourself some water and waterlog the rail. Now what that's going to do is anytime an item comes in here, it's just going to go and drop into that little hole right there, which we'll do something special with that. Now grab your solid blocks and place them there. Grab your observers, and reading out of these droppers, we're going to put observers underneath, 2 solid blocks, then a 2x2 area underneath in line with there with 2 4-tick repeaters on each one, with a 4-tick repeater on each one, pointing away from this solid block, going into a solid block with a torch on top, going into a piston, a sticky piston, pointing up with an observer, going into a solid block with either rail. It doesn't matter which one. In fact, you could even use the same rail, or you can alternate them, or it's an updater. That's what we need. With an observer reading out of those. And you might have to wiggle around and try to get in there. Stop some water, move things around, make it easier on yourself. But those have to go in there, and that will power those. Now we need to take a piston and throw them above where I have my glass blocks. One block touching and not touching. Because now, if we power this and move, this dropper is going to rotate, is going to transfer all the items over to the other side, which is pulsing all of these pistons here, which is fine. Pushes the water in, and then the water will be moved out if everything was set correctly. But it wasn't, because we aren't there yet. Okay, so now with this being done, we need to come over here and on top of these observers, place 2 solid blocks with with torches on each one, powering the pistons, and dust on top of those. Now when we power this, it is going to cause a quick pulse, causing these to swap. So I'm just going to place a observer there, because that's going to be its standard state, with a redstone, with a sticky piston 1 block away, so that I can control that. Grab a solid block, place it down with an observer with a sticky piston pointing down and a observer. Now go down a block and over, and then we're just going to take our these glass blocks and run it all the way into under there, and then just connect these up. If it connects like that, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's okay. And now we are going to take this one out, place an observer reading out from there, and another, put the rail back. Going into a solid block with 3 glass blocks. Going into a solid block with 3 3-tick repeaters. Okay, so now if I just break this and place it, the water comes and goes, and then if I do it again, and the water goes. Now, if I take a lever and power, full, let me reset this. Okay, so now if I remove, power, water, and they start counting. Items are getting transferred over and everything is processing. So we'll turn this on. We'll leave that off because we are going to do something special with it. But we need to take power from here. So we're going to grab ourselves another set of blocks. We're going to come down. In fact, we could just encase this completely. And actually, we'll hold off on that for now. But as you can see, we got these over, and that's exactly how we need it. They're processing, water's off, not flowing. So we're gonna run 2 dust. Okay, guys, editing wizard here, and did make a mistake, and at this point, I'm correcting it again. So what we're gonna do after we get these 2 dust down, we're gonna come out to the side and place a torch, which is going to power all of these. I'm going to remove that and reset these because we don't need them powered. We don't need the water flowing. Then I am going to take and 2 blocks, repeater, dust, block above the dust, then a 3-1 with a solid block here. And coming down on top of this one, we're going to place another glass block, a 4-tick repeater here, dust, 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 comparator here, here, and we're going to take another put a piece of glass there and raise this up. Now back to the regular recorded video. Now, when this pulses, it is going to create a delay holding it. And yes, you can, and this is the best time that I've found for the delay. So that it gives enough time for the tree to start growing again before the entire system starts processing it out. Okay, so now we got all that connected, and this is the majority of the brain. We are going to, I'll be right back, get everything set up, and we'll continue the processing of the system. So I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys. We're back, and what we're going to be doing right now is actually working on getting the location, getting the trees out after they grow. So we need to go up one level here, and you don't have to fill this all the way in like I am. You could even bust these out if you want, but this is for your safety. I recommend putting them here. So, and we'll also need to increase the level around here, just like that. And this one we could just completely fill in. Nothing's going to be going in that area. So, what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to take our target blocks on this very end, place them there, with a 4-tick repeater coming out of each target block. Then a solid block that also updates observers. So pretty much we're looking at droppers, dispensers, and redstone lamps. Your choice on which one you want to use. I am using dispensers with a piece of bone meal just to keep them quiet. So anytime I'm using an updater, it's going to be that. Then observers reading out of that, and then grab yourself either dirt, podzol, anything that you can plant the tree on. That's it. And place 4 of them there. Now, grab yourself your sticky pistons on top of the target blocks, and on top of the repeaters, place your sticky pistons with pistons in front of it. Now, the reason why we're going with that location is because anything in these areas will still grow the tree. But if we have anything in these areas, it will not. So we're eliminating the possibility of things not growing. So now what we need to do is come out here, go 2x3, grab your repeater, and 1 on 4 ticks, 1 on 2 ticks, and yes, this can be changed, and I'll explain in a bit how. 2 glass blocks here, 2 here. You can go down or stay there, or if you don't go down, you have to place a solid block here, which I'm going to do, and run dust all the way from there to there, and all the way back. Now, if we power this with the redstone block, we got a double piston, and we got a triple piston extension, but no retraction. Because we need to get these ones further back. To fix that, all we have to do is come up here, off of these back repeaters, place observers going up and going over. On top of those ones, get yourself some dirt. And yes, this has to be dirt. Place your dirt there. Now, if we power, they'll extend. Oh, we'll go full retraction, and then full extension, full retraction. That's what we need. Now, if you feel like it, you can just go right here and cover this in. Leaving that there will be fine. Okay. Now, grab your observers and place 1 on top of there with a solid block, a block there, going into a solid block. Move this over 1 and place a solid block here. Glass, solid, random block there, and a solid block here. We'll place 3 dust there, a comparator there, a repeater here on 4 ticks, and 1 on here on 4 ticks. Now, if you want to have this looking better, you can go, for every one you remove from this, you have to add 1 to both of these. So 4, 2, 2, 2, 4. So it has to be a total of 10 ticks per repeater line for this first one. So now if we break this and place it, we get the full extension and the full retraction. And that is that. So next step is starting where this dirt is. We're just going to extend it all the way out to about there, in line with this glass. And this is the part that you're going to have to choose what you want to do. Either extend it all the way in and fill in all this area here, leaving enough room to walk through here, and we will put some pistons in here to break some of the leaves down in this section, and we'll ignore everything here. Or what I'm going to do, because I want to get as much saplings, is starting from here. We're going to go 31 blocks from here. So this is 31. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. And all we have to do is just fill it in. I am just going to do this the easiest way possible by using commands. Boom. Now we got all that filled in with dirt, so we don't have to worry about any logs or leaves growing into that area. So next step is getting this connected up with bone meal. Getting everything connected up with bone meal. So give me a moment and I will be right back. All right, guys, we're back. And now we're going to get our bone meal processing and connect all the wiring over in this general vicinity together. So first off, we're going to come over here. We're going to grab some blocks, rails, boom, and I forgot my walls. Let's use sandstone wall. Oh no. Okay. So we are going to come over here, go over one, bring some ice, and then you don't have to use ice here, but we are going to encase this area. Go down one, and we're going to put power rails right here. Now coming down here, we're just going to place a temporary block here. Actually be better there. Grab our sticky pistons. Come around here. Place your sticky pistons. They will be in line with these blocks right here with observers. Now we're just going to go one down and place comparators on each of these with copper bulbs behind it. Now grab a power source, no matter what it is, and if you don't want it to activate, just break that block and power one just to be able to activate it, and we'll have them separate. Next, grab your observer to make it easier on yourself. Point it into this gap right here with a block in between them. And I'm going to remove these blocks here just so I don't have to fight with the stone. And grab your walls and some glass. And yes, you can put the glass there. But we're going to go up one and up two on this one. Grab yourself your walls. Place two walls down. That's going to activate them and get your trapdoor. Place it where when it opens, it attaches to the wall like we did down there. Get another observer and read from the rail. And all we have to do is just cover all this up. Cover this up. The ice and pull it out. That's just going to leave some trails, and we don't want that connected there. So with this, get yourself a slab and place it there. Now that's not going to connect only when that attaches, and only when that is powering. And now all we have to do is just come in here, make sure that this is blocked off, come over here also and make sure that this one is completely blocked off, and we can cover that up. Now we're going to come over here and place a trapdoor. Grab 2 scaffolding and place them right on top of the trapdoor and the block. Grab your observers and go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. And 1 going to the side. Put a solid block on top of that. And we are going to need slime blocks or honey blocks, and put those on top of those with a sticky piston right up top touching it. This is our cycle. This is how things are going to be cycling through and activating. And this is our start. This is our start stop. Come down here, place the piston pointing down with an observer pointing towards that direction with a solid block in front of it, and get some glass blocks and go down 3 blocks, and coming from this, place a block next to the rail and bring it all the way across. In fact, we can take that out and drop this down 1 and put rails on top of this with an observer powering the edge here with the regular piston here, and we'll actually have to take that block out. Now we're just going to take and put an observer in line with this one block away, with a sticky piston on its face. Grab yourself some redstone torches, place the torch on top, solid block on top of the torch, and a torch right behind the piston. So to power all of it, all we have to do is just power this piston. And that will start the counter, and when it's time for it to reset, it's going to stop producing bone. It's going to stop sending bone meal through the system. So next is we're going to get our bone meal in. Put 2 solid blocks here, and coming in line here, just place a few observers. Place the observers there, and grab yourself dispensers and place them on top of the solid blocks with hoppers going back till you are in line, 1 block away from this line of droppers on both sides. Now, if you need to, you can take these out for now, because we got to put some droppers in. We're going to come in line with these hoppers going 1 down. We're going to place droppers going up. And then just fill your droppers in so you are in line with the hoppers. And then cover those back up. Okay guys, Editing Wizard here. I forgot to mention that we do need to connect these observers. Now that we got all our bone meal feeding lines, we need to get them from over here to over there and all the way over there. So starting right over here, we're going to place an observer 1 block above this dropper, pointing towards the center, with 1 going down and 1 right next to it. Then we're going to put a solid block in front of that. Temporary block, place a block here, and then just go all along here. We are going to place an observer here, a solid block with a repeater right here. leave that repeater on default, grab your rails, and place your rails in here. Next, we are going to come up here. I'm going to place these here, 2 updaters, an observer pointing down on each one of those, rolling out from them, and one going out each direction. Pull an observer from underneath each of them, and skipping a block, we are going to place one on each side, one more. Now, this just has to get them to here for it to work, so we're fine. Grab a block, place it here, here, and place your rails here and here. Come around, place 2 observers here with 2 observers going up, solid blocks on them, and something to update these observers below, which will power and move all the bone meal across. Grab your hoppers, throw them in here. Now coming over here, we're going to place an observer, powering this one, this dropper, and this dropper. Come down, 1 block below, and in line. Grab your rails again and power those. Same thing over here. We need to get power from this dropper and this dropper for it to work. An observer going up on both of these, solid blocks and dust. Now we need to connect these right here together. So just run rails all the way up until it gets there, and then connect these together also. So now, if we just take this torch out for now, just so that we can do this, if you feel like it, this is actually a really good time, just place a solid block, power that piston, and now all but these ones over here are getting powered, and we need to power them. So easy way is just get something that can break easy. I recommend moss for this. Place the moss here and up here. That will power every line, almost every line, but we need to power these. So off of the hopper, we're going to put in an observer with a solid block and another block with a rail on it, and that will now send bone meal all the way across. So all you have to do now is start throwing bone meal in, and the bone meal is going to filter in here, which then is going to end up sending it across, filling up all the way over here. And yes, some of these are already filled, and it's going to fill them up, waiting for that to happen. And the reason why we're using moss is so that we could just wait for the trees to happen. So just let this stuff process, constantly keep bone meal filling it up. And take and throw solid blocks here, because now this is going to assist speeding these up right here. They're not powering these ones, but they are getting powered, and these ones are getting powered because of that. So the more bone meal you process, the faster it's going to go. And yes, it does take a while for this bone meal to process all the way through. Now I've got it going in multiple ways. So I'm actually going to fill this up completely with bone meal. And then we're going to continue on with the control circuitry to start and stop, and part of the leaf breakers. Now, all of them, now you might not need all of them. If you have this thing completely filled in, just fill this area in all with glass or whatever block you want to hide, whatever. Just make it where it's a lot easier to handle. We just have some things to do over on the other side. So let me get cleared up. Let me get the next set, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back, and now it's time to work on the leaf crushers. Now, if you decided to go and have this entire section filled with dirt, there's very little that you're going to do here, but we will take care of it. So, first off, we're going to come around over to this side on the opposite side of the dispensers. And if you filled in all of these spots with the block, you need to remove them, leaving this one alone. Get yourself some type of container that you can access and place it right here. Now, the only reason why I'm using the barrel is because I like the look of it on this side. That's it. But yeah, you can use anything that you can access with a piston on top. So chest, and if you're going to do a shelter box, place a block and use a shelter there. In fact, you can even use, if you feel like it, you can even use shelves. But I'm just going to use the barrel. So, from here, next to, in the rest of these open spots, we are going to place sticky pistons, and then sticky pistons on top of these, all the way across. And we'll just fill these in all the way up until here. So, and in fact, all of these will be sticky pistons. And if you are, if you have all of this covered in dirt, you can remove these sticky pistons and you'll be fine. So from here, what we're going to do is get our observers, place one here, place one here, place place regular pistons pointing in each other, and I have string in some spots to prevent leaves from growing because they will not be destroyed by the leaf crushers. Anywhere where the leaves will not, anywhere where I don't want leaves to grow, I have it blocked off by string. So keep that in mind. And yes, you can place it all the way up into this area right here. Anything above it will break the system. So from here, we're going to throw a piston here with an observer and do the same thing on the other side. Get yourself some trapdoors, and we're just going to place them right here and open them, close them, so that we still have access to the barrel while we are in the minecart. Now for the minecart, underneath the dirt, place that there with solid blocks on the ends. So your powered rails and your minecart. Now we're going to come on over here. We're going to take and place a comparator here. Now, and either a bulb here or here, your choice. I like it there with a solid block and dust right here. Now you can place something that's going to break right here, and hold off, or you can place logs. I recommend just this right there, and we'll let the system fill it in. Now, take a door. Take a door. Doesn't matter what door. And I recommend standing either here or here. If you stand like this, we're going to just have it closed. If you have it like this, it's going to be open and then closed naturally, but this system will work with either one. So I am going to do it this way. Next, we're going to take and place a solid block here, a comparator powering the block, observer reading out of the door, and powering the log that sits here. And then we're just going to cover this up just like this with glass. Now this part right here will be glass. These don't have to be there. And now on this side, everywhere where there is not either a activated redstone component, you can place a solid block. Everywhere there is something that can be powered through the block, we're going to place glass. Hence why we have the setup we do. Now, right here, we have our barrel, but that barrel is used as one, is our start-stop system. We're going to run dust all along here. And then after this, we're just going to place solid blocks and run dust all the way up. And we'll do something special with that. But from here, we are going to take and reading out of the barrel, we are going to use a comparator. Now, you can come in here and place your saplings in there just so that it has the signal that you need. A solid block, and then we're just going to run a line all the way to here, with this last one being a solid block. So throw a solid block here with a repeater. You can leave that on default, and 2 pieces of dust. Grab yourself a sticky piston, place it up at the end of that. With an observer, a block on the piston head, a copper bulb on the top, and a chain right in between. Now, I'm going to fill this in because I'd like to have everything sealed, and then we're just going to fill this in here. Okay, so now if we pull out the saplings, notice the door closes and the minecart starts moving. And when you put the saplings back in, the door opens and the minecart stops moving. So that's what we need. So now, and then if you, like I said, if you're doing if you have it fully encased, just increase all your glass all the way up. But here, we need to place in the center 2 pistons, observers powering these pistons when they get moved, observers here, and pistons here. And then that's going to be the basic formation to clear out as much of this area as you can with this low section. Now, if we come over onto this other side, we're going to fill this in the same way we did the other side, all the way up over there. Same thing with this one. Leaving this gap right here so that we can have a path for the logs to go. We are going to put glass on this row. Then we're going to grab our sticky pistons, place them all on here, and all the way up here. Grab your observers, place one here, one here, one here. And the same thing on this other side. Pistons in these gaps. And trapdoors that are open. Now that's going, and last part is solid blocks all along these pistons right here with dust on top. So when this gets powered, it will break all of these. And if you have this entirely filled, this top row is not needed. You might not even need this one right here. So next is we're going to come over here to where this piece of dust is. We're going to put 2 blocks down, a solid block. Then we're going to make our pulse extender cross. Take repeater, place it on 4 ticks with comparator here, and dust covering all that up. Then, reading off of this bottom one, we're going to take and place a repeater into a solid block with a torch on the side, a block on top of the torch, a torch inside of that, and a block on top of that. So now when this one pulses, we get the pistons breaking all of it, breaking all the leaves in that area. Okay, so now all we have to do is come over to this side now, and same thing, 2 blocks, 2 tick, 2 tick, solid block going into the pulse extender, a comparator, and dust going into a solid block with a repeater, torch, block on top of the torch, torch on the side, block on top of the torch, just like over here. So now if we activate this just by quick pulse, it breaks pretty much all those leaves, and all the saplings get pushed out, and all the logs get pushed out. So now if you are done, if you got most of this set up, all you have to do is just hop in and start running it. Yeah, almost. We'll have to finish the connection, but we needed to get this part set up first. So what we're going to do is just run a line all the way to here. And we're just going to continue the path. Make sure that when you place these, you do not touch anything, and I do recommend using a solid block here just to bypass that. And we're just going to run it down until we are right here. In line, one just before that. Grab yourself a target block, place it here. Take a we're going to just temporarily power this. We're going to power that and throw a torch right here, and that's just going to do a quick little pulse. Next is, starting from over here, we're just going to run dust all the way across, all the way to here, where we're going to place a solid, where we are going to place a solid block. Going to bust that out. Throw a repeater a repeater right there going into a solid block with dust. And about right here, we'll throw another repeater, break the torch, and everything should be powered. Now, the system will process all of it and break a decent amount of leaves and be able to process all the logs. Now, if you are doing the full leaf crusher like I am, get yourself some repeaters, get yourself some sticky pistons. 2 of them here go all the way till the very top of your dirt. These will be sticky pistons, and you do this on all 4 sides. So these will all have sticky pistons going all the way up. With observers here pointing towards the center with pistons. So observer, piston going all the way up. Now over here, we're going to do this formation. We're going to do 2 pistons, 4 sticky pistons, 2 pistons. In the center, observers, and regular pistons. This is going to crush every leaf above that point. And then we're going to throw solid blocks here, here, and then we're just going to continue the path here. And it's the same thing over on this side. So like I said, it's sticky pistons here, 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 regular, 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 observer, observers here. Make sure you get them pointing in the right direction, and pistons. Solid blocks on these guys. And you could throw dust on all these solid blocks because they will end up being powered. So I am going to, and this torch tower just continues all the way to the top. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get this completely built, and then we will do the final connections for this and work on some of the other logic needed. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. So I did get the entire leaf crusher done. So what we need to do to get the next set, to get these connected, is place, actually that needs to go there, right next to each dust on the short sides, we need to place a solid block. We need to put a 4-tick repeater going into it, behind it another block, and coming from this dust, a 4-tick repeater powering it. So now when these get powered, these will go 8 game ticks, 8 redstone ticks afterwards. And we do it to the same, we do it to the other side also. And all you have to do is just keep going and go to the other side. And same thing. And you do this all the way up, and it's all controlled by the by a single circuit, which makes it a lot easier when, if you're watching and seeing if there is any issues. Because all you have to do is just keep a track of certain parts. Then, so I will get that set up afterwards. But next step is we need to get our leaf crushers in. So there is 2 ways of doing it. One is we could either just use our first off, we need to place 4 observers pointing down, 1 block away from our little gap here, where we are going to be placing our pistons. Now now the option is, do we want to have these ones, do we want them all to fire at the same time? Well, not all at the same time. It's going to be a little fluctuation, but either way we'll have to place some observers here. Now what I normally do is just take myself some rails and just power all of these right here, which then will activate one side and then the other based on that. So it'll pulse at the same time. But the problem is these dusts will power the rails, which we don't want it. So we're just going to redirect the redstone. I'm using a button because it's pretty cheap. Next is we need to get ourselves a wall and some obsidian or other non-movable blocks. And right in line with our hole, we'll place the walls. In fact, actually, they need to go right underneath the observers. And then just the obsidian to stop it because we're not at push limit. So, and this is just for system safety. Okay, so now that we got that done, now we got all the now we got our logs capable of getting pushed out. We're going to come over here. Now, our wall here where our pistons are, we are leaving a 1 block gap, placing 3 observers, and we're doing this on both sides. And putting a solid block right on top. Grab yourself some rails, place rails all the way across. This will activate all of it. Grab yourself a regular piston. In the middle one, we're going to place the piston. Grab some dust. Throw it on top of the piston. Now we need a gap of 1. Place 2 observers in the middle. Make sure there's a 2x2 area here. And same thing right here. Leaving a gap between the pistons. Now have observers power the middle piston. Grab yourself a regular piston, and underneath we're going to place another observer pointing towards the center. So when this piston activates, it's going to activate, and then this one's going to activate. Grab your observers on the outside of the build, place them with a solid block. Next, and then we are going to place a block with an observer pointing down. We're going to put rails on the on that block and the observer with a solid block, and leaving a gap going down 1. We're just going to, I'm just going to do this fast. Make a line of, just to speed things up, just make a line all the way across, and then right where the pistons are, place blocks and anything that is not needed, and we're going to cover up some areas. We're going to cover up here, 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 and anywhere you can destroy the blocks if you want. Grab your pistons, 2 ticks on the one cut closest to the observer, then going from that way towards the center, 3 ticks, 3 ticks, 2 ticks. So, and you do this on both sides, because now if I place blocks here, it processes them down. And yes, it processes them fairly well. And okay, so now that we have that set up, all we have to really do is start processing everything. Turn everything on by taking the saplings out. And we're good to go. But we don't have enough bone meal. And we also are going to be losing a lot of bone meal potential. So first thing is we're going to come over here to where our droppers are on the bottom. We're going to place a block down. We're going to grab a stair and make sure it's a stair facing this direction. And I'm just going to move this one down so I can grab some packed ice. And we're just going to run it all the way until we are one block away from that 2x2 hole. Now, if you want to fill this up with 2x2 of spruce logs, that will help you out a little bit later. But if you don't want to, you don't have to, and let the system do it itself. Then we're going to fill this in and fill this in. Just keep coming up this way. And yeah, we're just going to go further than here. And I did extend this out so that we don't have to worry about it. It goes all the way to here. And we'll just fill all this in and take out what we don't need. And add what we need. Okay. In fact, actually one block here, so, oh. Alright. So now, everywhere where we have these, we need to come down, put one block, and put 2 additional blocks. Grab your stair, put it in, grab something that's going to block water, place it down, waterlog the stair. We need to stop this here because we got the water going in one direction. Make sure you get this one waterlogged. I'll put water there. And with this, put water, boom, and there we go. And inline here, one, and then add an extra. Stop the water. Wrong direction. And that will go all the way down there. Okay. Now we got these two, and we got this one, these ones, and those all in. Everything that the floor would produce. So any water that comes from the floor will clear this and get pushed into the droppers, and the droppers will be able to send everything here. Now, come back over here, and we want to make sure that this observer is actually in line here. We don't need anything there. And we're just going to go over 1 and then up and up 2. Grab a rail, grab your rails, and we'll just place it there. Now, every time that the system is sending bone meal in, it is also dispensing anything in these droppers, sending them to the sending them into our this water collection and getting them all out of the system. Now, coming up to the top here, we need to place something to block water here, because we are going to waterlog the rail, and then put water on top of the observer. So now items that are in this one and the center one here is now going towards a central point. Now down here, it's a little more complicated. First off, this is in the wrong spot. We need to drop it down 1 and replace our rails so that they just fill up properly. Grab our ice and go all the way to there, and then come all the way across till you're in line here. Cover this up. Make sure everything is watertight. And then if you want to, before you seal this all off, you can come in, find out a way to get in there and place a ice, and then with a torch up by it to melt it. If not, just come up here, crouch while doing this so that you can actually get here, and then just place your water there and walk on out. Now here we're going to place that there, and because I like to make sure that the water doesn't reach all the way, we're going to put a fence gate one below with a slab on top. And now we're just going to put water in here, and then over here, same thing, fence gate, slab. I'm going to block off there, put the water there. Now all the moss and the saplings are all coming into this spot right here. So we need at least 2 blocks here to have enough momentum. So 1, 2, perfect. And then we'll just add another block here, bust this out, and get yourself a piece of soul sand. Get yourself a piece of soul sand. And we're just going to build all the way up to past the just above that, because we will connect these afterwards. And then same thing here. All these will get put in. Now the easiest way to handle something this big without drowning is, after you get in here, instead of just using a water bucket, what we're going to do, and some people are like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, and some people are like, that doesn't work as well. Well, this is more about survival safety here. Get yourself some ice, and while you're building, just place your ice. And with your ice going all the way up to the point where you're stopping, on the sides, grab some regular torches, because this is where the genius part is. All you need is 1 torch, and I recommend 1 torch per block. And then the water will melt, and then the ice will melt, becoming water. It's going to take some time to do it, but let it do it. That's why we did a torch every block. And then that will get those up for everything we need. Now, next step is we need to have we need to be able to constantly put more bone meal in. So from here, because this is our bone meal input, we're going to put a barrel so we can have a lot more bone meal in. Put a hopper going to the side. Now, you don't have to use this design, but it does fit. And that's the only reason why. But you can use any other shulker unloader that you want. So, yeah, then we're going to take and put a solid block here with a piston here and a torch on top. Grab yourself a dispenser and have it point down. There we go. Now we need our detection. So we're going to place an observer. Then we're going to place a glass block just like this. We're going to buzz that middle part out. Grab a solid block, place it here, 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 and here. We need a big X with the observer. We're going to put a comparator here and here. 2 tick repeaters here, here, and here. Then we're going to take and put an observer here. Grab yourself a sticky piston. Place one down here. Put a temporary block. Place it down. Now, I'm using a redstone block for this, but you don't have to. You just have to make sure that you're able to power that observer, that sticky piston. Because with this sticky piston being powered, based off of this comparator, that is going to lock up. Okay, now that we got this set up, we're going to come over here, throw a hopper there, grab your chest, and put your chest here. Now, this is an unloader for bone meal. Now, if you're converting bone blocks, you'll have to first do an unloader, and then how you set it up is up to you. But we're just going to grab a shulker box because we need to place another thing. Put it right behind there and set a hopper there. Now, if you ever run out of bone meal, this box will not break. We could just place another one in. It's going to detect, and yeah, it should never break. But apparently it does. Maybe if we switch. Okay. 3 blocks? Yeah. Okay. If we switch, yeah. So instead of 2 ticks, we're going to have 3 ticks so that we constantly keep a box right there every time. And then we're just going to take and throw one of a few blocks, and I recommend mud because it's cheap. Mud or soul sand or a slab, something to just keep just for purposes of hopper coverage. And it doesn't have to be covered, it just, you can leave it alone. Now, for the most part, like if you're not actually trying to resource the bone, reutilize the bone meal, this can go away. You could take and throw all of it into lava. But yeah, with these torches on the side, if it's annoying, just get yourself a bucket of water and just destroy it with the water. And then collect everything. Okay, so let me get things cleared up. In fact, actually, yeah, we'll do this right now. So from here, we need to go down a couple blocks. Throw 2 walls on the back. Grab yourself an observer and pull one from each side. Grab yourself a piece of glass. And we're just going to line up a area back here. Grab your sticky pistons, and in line here, we're going to place sticky pistons with torches on top of them. And next to those, I'm just going to place that temporarily, we're going to place regular pistons. Okay, then we're going to take and throw dust on the back half here. With a repeater set to 2 ticks and a solid block. Because now if we place a block here, it's going to take and push them down. Oh, yeah. No, actually, they need to be 3. Yeah, it needs to be 3 ticks for consistency. Okay. So then this will get you into 2, too long, too wide versus a 2x2. Then you can divide it up however you see fit. I just have a double piston extender here to do that. But however you do, it's up to you. So, but then all you have to do is coming up here and build yourself a item filter, a water stream based item filter, where you take everything that is not sticks or saplings and put them into composters. So we are looking at moss, seeds, moss carpet, flowering azalea, and regular azalea. All those will be composted and sent right down into here. All the sticks, store, burn, whatever. Just make sure that you're able to clear them out so that you're not dealing with them as much. And the saplings, just return them through a hole in the ceiling right down onto here. And yes, some of them might get stuck up on trees, but they will not despawn because after they get broken, they will fall down onto the player. So I'm going to I'm going to finish putting this together and then we'll run it. So give me a moment. All right, guys, we're back. And I actually finished everything up so that we could run this thing. I even got a basic double speed item sorter with all the different things needed for it. I am storing up to 2 chests of sticks and then just getting everything else in lava. And then we've got our, well, the spruce saplings just immediately going back down into the system. Now, I did fill everything in just so that I don't have to worry about it. So we got the logs, we got these. I'm using command blocks to remove them just so that nothing breaks. So all we do is come in here. Let's go into survival. Now the best thing to do is come in, take some of the saplings out, turn around, and place your saplings down, then pull the rest out. Now we're going to be getting nothing but podzol. And we're bouncing back and forth. It's clearing out the floor. All of it's breaking. There we go. And more down. Boom. And we got it all cleared out. And we got more saplings. We lost 2 out of it. But that was just for now. It'll be a constant influx of it, so we're not worried about it. But yeah. And that's pretty much how this thing works. Oh. And then pop out. Let's exit. And yes, you can exit within while the water is still there. Go to creative, and all the stuff is processing out, and we have ourselves some additional saplings. All right. So, and there we go. Now, Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down in the comment section. If it's a major issue, I recommend joining my Discord. If you want to support me, subscribe. But you guys, this is the Redstone Wizard. Enjoy building. Alright guys, we're back. And I actually finished everything up so that we could run this thing. I even got a basic double speed item sorter with all the different things needed for it. I am storing up to 2 chests of sticks and then just getting everything else in lava. And then we've got our, well, the spruce saplings just immediately going back down into the system. Now, I did fill everything in just so that I don't have to worry about it. So we got the logs. We got these. I'm using command blocks to remove them just so that nothing breaks. So all we do is come in here. Let's go into survival. Now the best thing to do is come in, take some of the saplings out, turn around, and place your saplings down. Then pull the rest out. Now we're going to be getting nothing but podzol. And we're bouncing back and forth. It's clearing out the floor. All of it's breaking. There we go. And more down. Boom. And we got it all cleared out. And we got more saplings. We lost 2 out of it. But that was just for now. It'll be a constant influx of it, so we're not worried about it. But yeah, and that's pretty much how this thing works. Oh, and then pop out. Let's exit. And yes, you can exit within while the water is still there. Go to creative, and all the stuff is processing out, and we have ourselves some additional saplings. All right. So. And there we go. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This did take me a lot longer to record and edit, but I think it was actually worth it. So if you like the way that I'm doing this, like I did this one, let me know. If you'd rather me go back to the old way, let me know. But you guys, this is the Redstone Wizard. Enjoy building.